Hello and welcome to Murderous Midwest. I'm Abby,
And this is Eleanor.
and today we are talking about Dennis Rader, aka the BTK killer. Before we get started, as always, I must give out a little trigger warning. However, this one's not nearly as bad, as previous episodes have been. So, there's that. So, let's just get right into it, shall we?
Hold on a second. How dare you? I'm looking at the script. How dare you not capitalize my name? You put low. She tried to pause the recording. No, rude. Yes, I'm offended. Continue, Abby.
Sorry, I didn't. Okay, we're rolling with it.
That was so mean.
I swear I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. Okay, BTA killer. Please, is that what it is? It's
BTK killer.
BTK killer. Okay, continue.
So, Dennis Rader, known as the BTK killer, which stands for Bind, Torture, Kill, chosen by him. He chose his own name. Sounds weird, but we will get into it.
Y'all want a
later.
good slogan. It's fine.
Yeah, no, he was very specific as to what he wanted. Anyways, so Dennis Rader, he murdered 10 people in the Wichita, Kansas area from 1974 to 1991, and he was born on March 9th, 1945 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, but he grew up in Wichita. And he was the oldest of 4 siblings total. He had 3 brothers, and he had a really, seemingly, outside looking in, he had a really normal childhood. People would say, oh, you have loving parents, you have loving brothers, you have a good relationship in your family, and people saw him as a normal kid. But he would later go on to say that he would hide behind a mask in which, he had this mask, and he would hide behind it, and, behind said mask, he would, hang stray animals.
That's
Weird. Not
I've heard of
weird.
masking before.
Yeah.
And autism, but I've never heard of masking in the sense of hiding awful activities.
It is a special case almost, and it's weird because not a lot of killers do it.
No, mostly of them get obsessed with death and are open about it.
And it shows that he wanted to mask it. He shows this because that means he knows what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
Thinking about this, I'm okay, so he knew what he was doing was wrong, and so he knew he had to hide it. So it's interesting to me. But yeah, it said he used to hang stray animals. Not nearly as bad as Dahmer, but you know what Dahmer did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
the level that we're at.
Yeah, exactly. Not quite though. It was starting out it was there, and then it was Dahmer, he progressively got worse. This just kind of stayed the same for a good while.
Okay.
So, he lives his childhood, high school. After high school, he got into college, but he ended up dropping out, not even halfway through, and he joined the U.S. Air Force about 1960s.
Did it ever say why you dropped out?
No, it just says he dropped out because he decided, he wasn't a college person. That kind of how people do. So he came back home, and in 1971, he married Paula. And then he started working for an outdoor supply company, and he was there for, a year, and I couldn't find the name of said company.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know, it was some, outdoor supply company. And he worked there for about a year, and then he quit. And then he found a job. He, worked odd jobs, and then a couple years later, in 1974, he started working at ADT Security Services, and ADT is where he spends, most of his career.
Okay. What does this company do?
They're a security team.
Oh,
so,
security. Yeah, I didn't hear the last word.
No, you're good. So we are going to jump right into his murders, because he lives a very regular seeming life. He's huge in the community. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. And his neighbors are friends with him. He plays a big part in the community. And so, eventually...
Is he a white guy?
He is white.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that helps
big
us a
part
little
in his
bit.
community.
Sounds familiar,
Why?
huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he never told us why he started. He never gave an answer, a direct answer. as to why he started killing. So we really don't know, like,
What?
just one day he just decided to go kill a bunch of people.
Like, the other ones were obsessed with death, or, like, were leading on to things.
Wasn't, and that's why he's such a mystery, is because, like, he
Wait, didn't he hang animals, though?
He hung animals, but, like, he didn't have that, like, obsession with death like H.H. Holmes did, or, like, Dahmer, Bundy, you know, like, he didn't
It wasn't as intense.
Exactly, he didn't have that, like, super intense
drive.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what makes it so weird, is because it just, like, appeared out of nowhere, and, like, nobody could figure out why. Yeah. And so his first murder was on January 15th, 1974. He strangled to death 4 members of the Otero family in Wichita, Kansas. Joseph, Julie, Josephine, and Joseph Jr. The last 2, Josephine and Joseph Jr., are their kids. And Joseph and Julie are the husband and wife. And he stole a watch and a radio. And then it's said that he left semen on the scene, and he later would go on to say, like, why they found semen on the scene. He said he got sexual pleasure from killing.
Ew, gross. Yep. Icky, nasty.
Mm-hmm. It's.
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Like I said, like,
I was thinking that was why. I was actually thinking, trigger warning, rape. But honestly,
most people would, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, okay.
He didn't rape his.
I mean, didn't Dahmer get sexual pleasure from?
He did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy is, like, I don't even know, like, a very toned down version of Dahmer, and I really don't know how to describe it any other way than that. You know what I mean? Like, he does similar things.
Okay, yeah.
But not nearly as bad. Like, is it bad? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very bad, but, like, not Dahmer
bad. Okay, well, continue.
And so he strangled this family, and then later, the family's 15-year-old son came home and found all their bodies, immediately called police. Police immediately jumped into investigation, and, yeah. Like, I can't even, like, imagine coming home and finding that.
That's awful. Yeah.
And knowing.
The mental fact.
Exactly. And not even just, like, finding that would be awful, but knowing that you're the only one who made it just sounds terrible to me.
And that's right around our age, yeah.
Exactly. Like, no, that is my age, and so
yeah.
It's just, it scares me, quite honestly.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah. So, a couple months later, April 4th, 1974, same year, a young woman named Catherine Bright was stabbed and strangled when she came home, and the BTK raider, he had hidden her apartment. He hid in her apartment and waited for her to come home, and once again...
is that the one... That's where this idea of a serial killer waiting for you in your house came from, is because of this killer?
Partially. Well, not necessarily. Like, that idea had already been a fear, but he kind of, like, brought it to light and made it more prominent.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, I mean, like, that's terrifying. Coming, like, just, like, that situation.
No, yeah, it's awful.
Nobody wants to be in that situation. So, yeah, no, he hid in her apartment, came home, strangled her. And then he ended up shooting her brother Kevin twice, and he actually survived. He survived, and police had, like, questioned him, said,
right.
Give us a description. And the only thing that he could say was Raider was a, quote, average-sized guy, bushy mustache, psychotic eyes, end quote.
Psychotic eyes?
Yeah. Like, he couldn't give them any other description other than that.
That is, well, it's trauma, but,
Exactly. Trauma kind of, like, hides some of that, Like,
right, and it sometimes takes years for them to remember certain details.
Exactly. So we jump ahead a couple more months into October 1974. So, actually, like, a young male, he confessed to killing the Oteros. He said, yeah, I did it. And he said he did it with 2 of his friends.
Oh, my gosh, why would you confess?
Mm-hmm. But here's where it gets even weirder, not only was it weird, like, that he confessed, they were like, the cops were like, sweet, we got him, we got the guys.
Right.
It's done. But no. This is where it gets worse. So an editor at the Wichita Eagle, which is their local newspaper, got, like, a really weird phone call. And that phone call directed him to their local library. More specifically, a mechanical engineering book.
That is
so weird, right? Like, imagine getting a phone call being like, go to the public library and look at a mechanical engineering book. Out of nowhere. Like, I just feel like that would be really weird. And so, obviously this editor contacts the police and is like, hey, what is this?
I am nervous.
Yes, exactly. And so the police, they go and check it out, and they find a letter, okay? And in this letter, it was a big, long letter, but the main part that the police ended up focusing on was the part that said, quote, "Those 3 dudes you have in custody are just talking to get publicity. The code words for me will be bind them, torture them, kill them. BTK. You see me at it again. They will be on the next victim." End quote. And then later in that letter, it also says, quote, "It's hard to control myself. You probably call me psychotic and sexual perversion. Hang up." End quote. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Creepy. And what makes it funny to me is, like, it's obviously not a funny situation, but, like, what makes it funny to me is his grammar is so bad. And, like, if you look up, like, I looked up, obviously, pictures of these letters to try and, like, make out some of the stuff. And his handwriting is so hard to read. It is just absolute
Did it go to your serial killer's handwriting
Yes,
thing?
It did.
Oh my gosh.
For those of you who don't know,
yes. Oh my gosh.
My freshman year last year, I did a presentation on how to find a serial killer.
I did how to survive a serial killer.
Yes, ours went hand in hand. So
big surprise.
I did how to find a serial killer, and one of my main points was how to find them based off of their handwriting. And a lot of these points that I made matched up with his handwriting, which was really cool to see.
We're like, oh my gosh, it works.
Right? Like, it does. So if you have questions on that, feel free to ask.
We could so do an episode on that.
We should.
Comment down below if you think that would be something that you guys would be interested in.
Yes, please. I would be so happy to
Shoot
share
us an
my
email.
information with you. So, obviously, the police are like, what the heck?
Right.
So, these guys we have, obviously, they aren't the real thing. And so, their whole trial gets let go. They get let go.
My question is why they did that.
Why they confessed?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I'm wondering that too. Like, what made them was it, like, funny? Because, like...
Was it the publicity type of thing? Was it...
I don't know.
Could he have bribed them?
I don't know. That could also be a possibility.
So that he could come forward? Or are they just a bunch of really stupid
That's true. I didn't think about that. That is a good observation.
I thought that's probably out there a lot.
Yeah.
Why would they... I'm just confused on why you'd
There's so
commit.
many holes because he didn't give them very much information. Literally the only thing he gave them while he was in court was, I killed these people. This is how I did it. Here are the really, like, gruesome, like, grimy details. But he didn't give them why. He never said why he did it. He
Probably
just said
because
that
he didn't know. He's psychotic.
Yeah.
He's completely running off of instinct.
Even, like, obviously we can tell, like, he's psychotic, but they did not have enough evidence to prove him criminally insane.
Oh.
They could not. The lawyer, we'll get into that later, but their lawyer...
I mean, there's no reason why we have to go in order.
Yeah. So, like, his lawyer ended up saying in the end, because he was originally going to plead not guilty at his first trial. And he told the judge that. He said, will you put in a plea for me for not guilty? And when he got to court, his lawyer stood up and said, we plead guilty for reasons of, like, he gave the list of reasons and, like, the crime, how lawyers do. And he also said, that they had substantial evidence going against him, and also, like, they couldn't prove him criminally insane.
Right.
Because
That's crazy.
there just, like, wasn't enough. So, yeah. So, anyways, got a little sidetracked there, but it's fine. So, the police start, like, freaking out. They're like, what the heck? And the press eventually finds out about it.
Right.
And so it ends up...
Because it's the journalist who got the...
He got the phone call, but he didn't see the letter itself. So the press finds out about it, and it ends up, obviously, in their local newspaper, and it just goes huge. And the name, the BTK killer, stuck. And he became, because there were separate newspapers, and so each one wanted to, like, make it their own. And so he came to be, like, by a lot of different names. But most of them stuck to the BTK killer. One of them called him the moniker. The moniker.
Moniker?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Me too. Like, I don't know where that surfaced, but
I don't know.
it ended up there.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll Google it later.
Yeah. Right? Like, what does it even mean? Or just, BTK. And so his next known crimes happened 3 years later in 1977. And there are two, and then one third big event. So March 17th, 1977, he tied up and strangled Shirley Vian after locking her 3 children in the bathroom. She was what was she, like, she was in her late 20s, early 30s.
I would argue that he's worse than Dahmer.
Yeah. He didn't do anything to the children other than locking them in the bathroom. He never...
Oh my gosh, the trauma for those poor kids.
And they were all very young. And so the way he described this happening is he knocked on their door. Her 5-year-old answered the door. He barricaded the children into the bathroom, tied her up, strangled her, and then, killed her. Killed her by strangulation.
I'm just jaw-dropped over here.
Yeah, no, like, it's awful. He's not...
I'm just trying to think of the kids.
A lot of people, like, know his name, but not a lot of people know, like, the details of it. And there's so much that goes into it. And so that happened. The kids escaped, and they could only give the police a really, like, vague description. Because, they're kids, and they're obviously traumatized. And so there's no leads. Police have nothing. And so...
When was this?
This was March 17th, 1977. 3 years after that.
It's not even that long ago. It's the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And just wait until you hear about some of his recent stuff.
Okay, continue.
So, December 8th, 1977, same year, a while later, he strangled 25-year-old Nancy Fox in her home, called the police to report the homicide, saying, quote, "You will find a homicide at 843 South Perishing," end quote. Police come, find her body. What the heck? They freak out. Once again, they have no leads. He was very clean about what he did. And it wasn't even his murders.
He was so public, though.
He was.
Oh
and
my
nobody knew who he was.
Psychopath.
Right? Like, nobody could figure out who he was. And, he seems, like, outside looking in, incredibly... like, vague. Based on his letters, like, he looked really dumb. And so the police were like, we'll catch him eventually. And it wasn't even his murders that he got caught for.
Yeah. Most of them are, honestly.
He probably, like, is probably, like, one of the dumbest ways I've ever seen a killer get caught.
How many more murders do we have to get through before that?
There's a couple more.
Okay, let's speed through. I want to hear.
Yes.
Okay, I will shut my mouth. We gotta speed through these killings before I start talking anymore.
So, January 1978, he sent a poem on an index card to a local newspaper about the Vian killing. Okay?
Okay.
And the poem starts with, Shirley Locks, will thou be mine. Okay?
Okay.
Weird.
Ominous, got it.
Right. And it's a remake, and I will actually read that poem later. It's a remake of, like, a child's poem.
Okay.
That nobody talks about anymore because of this event. And so weeks later, after he sent that one index card, he sent a letter to another television station saying that he was responsible for killing Vian Fox and another unknown victim.
Does he admit to sending these letters himself?
He admitted to everything.
Okay. Because I'm like, somebody could have sent it and been like, I'm
nope,
this killer. Like they did with the Zodiac type of person where they say and then they're actually not.
Yeah. Nope. He admitted to everything. Everything.
Oh, wow.
And in these, like, letters and notes, because there were several of them, these are just kind of like some of the bigger ones that they ended up bringing to in court. In these letters, he made a bunch of tributes to a bunch of other killers, some of them being Ted Bundy and David Berkowitz, and he was known as Son of Sam.
Okay, yeah. No, I know of that person.
Yes. And so he was reportedly a good husband. You know, outside looking in, everybody was like, yeah, that's Dennis. I know him. He's great. We're buddies. He's a great husband. He loves his wife and his kids. You know, everybody, like, loved him.
Right.
And so him and his wife in 1975 had a daughter, or a son, sorry. They had a son, and then in 1978, they had a daughter. So they ended up having 2 kids together total. And
Poor lady.
I know. And she knew nothing. She knew absolutely nothing about it.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. Like, it's quite literally anybody can be something you don't expect.
Oh, what's that one quote from the one that you did on your thing? Like, we are your sons, we are your daughters.
We are your sons, we are your husbands. This isn't a direct quote. I don't remember the whole thing. But it's like, we are your sons, we are your husbands.
We are your daughters.
We will strike again, or something like that. It's freaking creepy.
They're so ominous.
Yes, and that's the crazy thing about it, is like you never expect it. And so he went to college during the year. So he went back to college during this time. And he what did he do? He graduated with, get this, I find this really ironic. He graduated from Wichita State University with a degree in Administration of Justice.
Gotta defend yourself when that court date comes around.
Yeah, right? And so, going on, February 20th, 1978, this is, like, right before he has his daughter.
Right?
Right? And so, I just find that, like, what the heck, man? You know?
The fact that he's willing to do this right before he has a daughter.
Exactly.
And brings another human into this world.
He was super mad. He was really mad about, like, the lack of responses to his last attempt to, like, go public. And he sent a more direct message to this TV news channel, like this local news channel. It's KAKE TV, or Cake TV as I like to call it. Quote, how many people do I have to kill before I get my name in a paper or some national attention, end quote. He gave them a list of names, a few of them being the BTK Strangler, the Wichita Hangman, and the Asphyxiator.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like I said, he gave them a name, like.
He really dove into this publicist.
He does. I think, like, his motive was attention.
That is so sickening.
Right? Like, it's, ugh. And so, the Wichita Police Chief, Richard Lemunion, called for a press conference, finally, to make things public. They gave him what he wanted. And in this conference, he ended up saying, quote, we have no reason but to believe the individual has the capability to kill again, end quote. And that's what he ended with.
That is so creepy. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm, like, struck right now.
That's what the chief ended with. Like, this...
He will come again.
Right? Like, it's insane. And so, April 1979, about a year later, he waited in this elderly woman's home. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Elderly woman's home. And he actually ended up leaving before she came back. Because
so he's impatient too.
He got bored and left. But
I guess she didn't have a cat for him to kill.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just the little lack of murder for him.
But we know that he went to her house because he later sent her like, her personal items. Like, he's took a bunch, like, her underwear, her bras, her hairbrush, and a
You know, I'm never going to be able to look for my hairbrush the same.
Yeah, no. He sent her a poem. And it was titled, "Oh, Anna, Why Didn't You Appear?" And I also have that poem, and I will read it.
Oh, yay, the poem finally.
Yeah, do you want me to read it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please give me the poem.
This one's, like, really weird.
Okay.
Like, I don't even know how to break it down because it's really weird. So this is the poem. "Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear? 'Twas perfect plan of deviant pleasure so bold on that spring night. My inner felling hot with propension of the new awakening season. Worn with inner fear and rapture, my pleasure of entanglement, like new vines at night. Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear? Drop of fear, fresh spring rain would roll down from your nakedness to lofty fever that burns within. In that small world of longing, fear, rapture, and desperation, the game we play fall on devil ears. Fantasy spring forth, mounts to storm fury, then winter clam at the end. Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear? Alone, now in another time span, I lay with sweet and rapture garments across my private thought. Bed of spring moist grass, clean before the sun, and slaved with control, warm wind scenting the air. Sunlight sparkled tears in eyes so deep and clear. Alone again, I trod in past memory of mirrors, and ponder why for number 8 was not. Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear?"
That's
Creepy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Shall I read the second poem? Well, this poem came before Shirley Locke's. You want me to read that one too?
Of course.
Okay.
So, did this have proper grammar in it, or was this just like his letters where it was awful?
Not really. Not really, no. I mean, it's a poem, so poems can kind of have, like, whatever grammar they want.
It's true.
But not really. If we're looking at it from, like, a grammatical standpoint, it was not.
Like, did it look like his letters is what I'm asking.
Oh, like handwriting?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't able to find a picture of the poem itself.
Okay.
I found it typed up.
Oh, okay.
So this is the Shirley Locke's poem. Shirley Locke, wilt thou be mine? Thou shalt not scream, nor sorry.
Just
very,
thrown in
like-
the slang.
Nor yet feed the line, but lay on cushion and think of me and death and how it's going to be. And that's the entire poem.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I mean, he has a way with words.
Kind of. So that was the poems. And so, he sent that "Anna, why didn't you appear" poem to this old lady. And then later, August 14th, 1979, not too much later. So in an effort to catch him, the authorities released the 1977 recording of his phone call, where he called police
Right.
and said, "Go to this address. There's
Wait,
a
what
break-in."
year is it now?
1979, 2 years.
Okay.
So 2 years after the
he's
recording.
committed
And so
many more murders.
yes. And so they released the recording in hopes to find, they had finally made the connection of these are connected. And so they released this recording in hopes that somebody would be like, "I know that voice." And
Right.
nobody called. Not one person. Yeah, right? Like,
Well,
it's insane.
Okay, my explanation for that is if you hear your neighbor Mike on the police and then hear like, "Oh, serial killer after," are you
Really
gonna
tell
go
me?
to the police
That's true.
and be like, "Oh, this kind of sounds like Mike"? And number one, what if it's not?
Yes, exactly. Then you look like an awful person. Like, yeah, no, it's just...
It's too
very
messy, and
touchy.
I mean, yeah,
And
he could be
so-
just really under the wraps, but also people
Exactly.
could just not want to come forward because they're
Yeah.
too scared.
Exactly. So we jump ahead 5 years later, and the group, I think this is so funny, the Ghostbusters are created, named after, obviously, the Ghostbusters movie, and it is literally a giant group of, like, really good detectives and just, like, really skilled workers in general, completely
Who
devoted.
apparently were also nerds
Yes.
when it comes to their fiction. But
So,
you know,
they were
sometimes we need those
completely
people.
devoted to the BTK's crimes. So they preserved so much evidence. They had so much evidence, like, grouped up and just saved that. Like,
Right.
helped win in court, but like they didn't really need to because he confessed. So
Because, he confessed to all these terrible things.
yes. So after several years of being crime-free, supposedly crime-free, he ended up killing his neighbor, Maureen Hedge.
Oh, his neighbor.
His neighbor, Maureen Hedge, on April 27th, 1985, by strangulation. And then her body...
I'm so surprised.
Right? Favorite method. Her body was found 8 days later on the side of the road. And then, jump ahead a little bit, September 16th, 1986, he killed Vicky Wedgerl, and her husband, Bill Wedgerl, returned home and found his 2-year-old son sitting by himself and his wife dead in their bedroom.
Oh my gosh. Why did he leave the children? Oh my gosh.
Would you rather him, like...
No,
like,
I'm just saying that,
yeah, it's awful either way.
both.
I mean, both ways aren't good.
Like, don't get me wrong, I kind of happy that they lived and all, but...
Also, at the same time, like, just don't kill the parents in the first place and problem solve.
No murder.
But get this, without evidence, the husband was the prime suspect.
Yeah, the husband's
I
always the
found
subject.
These earrings. This is, like, totally off topic, but I found these earrings on Etsy, and they said the husband did it, and I want them so bad.
Can you buy me a matching set? I want one that says, I want a sweat. Oh, can I get your mom to get me a... Okay, hold on. Her mom has a small business, just plugging her mom if you ever, like, want a sweatshirt. Can I get one that says, oh, no, always expect the wife?
Yes, I like that one. Okay, yes, I will.
Okay, sorry.
I need to talk about that with her, because that's a
I want always expect the
Okay.
wife, because it is. If
So-
a husband's been murdered, always expect the wife.
Yes. Or the mistress.
Or the mistress. That's literally what I was about to say.
So, he became the prime suspect, and his Raiders' final known victim, they didn't have enough evidence against him, though, so they let him go. Raiders' final known victim was Dolores Davis. She was taken from her home January 19th, 1991. And so, over the next several years, Raider, the BTK, just totally dropped off the map, went off the grid, and he focused on his work and his family life. How weird does that sound? The serial killer is going to stop because he wants to focus on his family.
I'm going to go with his wife. Must have been some type of scary person to be able to scare an actual serial killer into spending time with his wife.
But everybody said she was like the sweetest woman you would ever meet.
I mean, yeah. I feel bad for
And
that sucks.
so he was a Boy Scout leader and president of his church council, and that will get him screwed later. And you'll see why in a minute.
The church council one?
The church council one, yes.
Did you kill someone from the church council?
No. So the 30th anniversary of the Otero family murder rolls around 2004.
Oh my gosh, that recent?
Yes.
So they must have assumed that he died.
Recent. Possibly, they didn't know.
Right.
They didn't know how old he was, so they couldn't like pinpoint when it was going to stop.
Right, but
So
I would have assumed that he
resurfaced
died.
2004, and he sent so many letters to so many media outlets and authorities and editors, just literally whoever he could. And all of these letters were filled with items related to his crimes, pictures, puzzles, poems, everything he could. And he sent out a word puzzle that eventually, it was like some weird word search type thing, but it had like numbers mixed into it too. And these like puzzle sleuths years later, after he was convicted, found out that the letters RADER, his last name, were grouped around the numbers 6220, his home address.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I bet they were so mad about that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're mad about all of this. So.
Yeah, no, right? And he also gave an editor a complete outline for a story that he wanted him to put in the news. Just an entire outline.
Okay, so did they not have, like, fingerprint matching? Where they couldn't take it off the paper?
He probably wore gloves. I mean...
That's true.
He's obviously a smart guy.
That just proves... hold on. That just proves that grammar has something to do with intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, not the best example, because he also, like, murdered a bunch of people, but he got away with it.
And eventually he sent them a computer floppy disk, and that ended up screwing him over.
This is the floppy disk guy.
Yes, this is the floppy disk guy. And so he left a bunch of clues in public areas, and one of those clues was half of a postcard in a cereal box, and another half.
He spent so much time.
Yes, and another half was found in a local Home Depot, and this was also in a cereal box. And in these cereal boxes were a bunch of images. And one of them had a doll in, like, with its hands tied behind its back and a bag over its head.
I have a question.
Yes.
So these cereal boxes are where?
They're, like, all around town.
They're not, and there's no cameras?
He did it where there was no cameras.
So he thought of this.
Yes. And
Gosh,
you know, these two halves of the postcard are found, and they put them together, and the postcard asks the police, "Can I send you guys," this isn't like a direct quote, but this is basically what it says, "Can I send you guys a floppy disk without you guys tracing me? And if you can, put out an ad in the newspaper that says, Rex, it will be okay." This is January 25th that they find these 2005. This is a whole year later. This is really recent. So January 2005, they find these, they put this evidence together, and they're like, well, we're going to put an ad out. And so January 28th, the police sent out the ad saying, "Rex, it will be okay. Contact me, P.O. Box, first 4 ref numbers at 67202.
Oh my gosh, some of the people in the school were born.
And then, And then another postcard was found later, a couple days later, confirming that he had gotten the news. And so February 16th, 2005, a couple weeks later, the computer floppy disk is sent out to, of all people, a cyber cop. No, he sent it to a cyber cop named Randy Stone, who, in a matter of, 10 minutes, decoded this thing and traced it back to a person named Dennis at Christ Lutheran Church and Park City Library. Remember what I said about the church screwing him over? So, within seconds, simple Google search pinpointed the church's president, Dennis Rader. February 20, and he was arrested immediately. And so, February 25th, 2005, he was officially charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. His neighbors and his church members and his community were just ballistic. They were so shocked. They had no clue. And
It could never be the innocent white guy.
Exactly. They found it so hard to believe that he did it. And so, like I said, he originally pleaded not guilty. He put in a plea for not guilty, and then he showed up to court, and his lawyer said, "We plead guilty." And everybody was put off by it. The persecutor, they were like, "What?
What?
Pardon?
What? Pardon?
Say that again?" And, everybody was just like, what the heck? And so he, as a part of his, guilty plea, he gave a ton of, super detailed, gory, grimy details in court. And a bunch of the observers and jury members later said, he showed no emotion. He showed no remorse whatsoever while he was looking back upon these and, relaying them.
Right.
And
well, why would he? He did it out of
exactly.
pure
And
spite
so
and hatred.
he was, after a not very long trial, he was sent to El Dorado Correctional Facility to serve 10 life sentences without possibility of parole for 175 years.
Ooh, he didn't get death sentence?
Didn't what?
He didn't get death sentence?
Death sentence. No. So, this is actually,
Pardon?
This happened before Kansas reinstated the death sentence.
Is he dead now?
No, he's not dead.
So can we retry him?
No.
Oh.
Remember, you can't be retried for the same
Oh!
time. So, so this was
Dang it!
Right before.
We just
They
need to find one of
reinstated
his
the
other
death
murders.
sentence.
Well, he
And so-
confessed to all of his murders. Oh my gosh, that was so smart.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I know.
Sorry, I'm
He
just
is so
realizing
incredibly
this.
smart. He is so
Because
incredibly
it
smart.
must have been in legislation. I'm sorry, guys. This is so loud for you. It must have been in legislation to commit
Like, he was so smart. There's so much about
Oh
him.
my gosh.
But I'm sure more information will surface up later, because he's still alive,
Hoping
y'all.
for a retry.
Yeah, but that probably won't happen. But
Oh.
this is all the time that we have for today.
Okay, guys. It was
Thank
super
you
wonderful.
for joining us. This episode was so much fun. Not a very nice episode, but like it was so much fun to
It was
learn
a
about
fun
this.
one.
I personally learned a lot. If you guys know something that
I learned
didn't
a lot.
yeah. If you guys know something that I didn't say in this video, comment it, tell us. We want to know. So thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye-bye.